Presentation, being able to present in front of people, is a very important skill because this is what we bring into the world. So now, when we are presenting to people, there are several things we need to remember. Number one, we need to step inside and manage our own state. You have to get rid of internal chatter, if you have any, of all the voices of doubt and self-criticism that a lot of people carry, because the moment you get engaged in your internal dialogue and paying attention to those things, you have immediately negated your audience, whether it's one person or whether it's 5,000 people, it doesn't really matter. So you have to be in the right emotional state. You have to ground yourself. You have to find the optimal state within which you are grounded, connected, and allowing your creative mind be fully expressed in a way that you are engaged with the audience. So manage your own state. The next thing you need to know is that people always, what happens in the mind of a person, they are always referring whatever they are experiencing to themselves. Was it in for me? How does it relate to me? Because in the mind of all people, people put themselves in the movie of the mind. They are the main character. It has to somehow be relevant to them. It has to be in some ways about them. They have to connect with it. So when you do present to your audience, you always speak in a second person. You. When you think about something, you may consider something. When you remember something that happened in your life, people internally take it inside and they follow those words and search for those experiences in their mind, making them relevant. Speak about things that are relevant to them, because curiosity is a very important factor in people's life. As long as a person remains curious, they are motivated to remain engaged with you. They want to know what happens next. So in order to maintain this level of curiosity and involvement with your audience, if you are presenting to a large audience, is to engage them in some kind of action, internally or externally. Some people said probably every minute or minute and a half. Consider something. When you say that to them, they have performed an operation of going in their mind and considered something. Well, take a look around. They have done that. When you are telling your stories, tell them in a present tense language, which subconsciously brings them to this experience. It's a very different experience to say, you know, he walked in the woods long time ago, versus saying, when you are walking in the woods and looking around and experiencing the ambience of that wood and the very nature of this mysterious forest within which you are walking, seeing exciting things that surround you, that person is on that trail with you experiencing it, versus telling a story that happened somewhere some times ago, which creates a time and space and distance between a person. It's not an experience, they are an observer of something. The next thing you need to know, what you need to do, as I mentioned earlier, you have to get out of your own way in some ways and stop the internal chatter and the voice of internal self-doubt and criticism. And by doing so, imagine yourself stepping into the mind, into the headspace of a person or people that you are presenting to. Look at the world through their eyes and ask myself that question as them. What is it that I need to hear and experience right now in order to feel inspired, in order to feel curious, in order to feel motivated to actually be here? And here comes the story that always comes to my mind. Imagine yourself now that you are in a theater, enjoying a performance, a riveting performance of Hamlet. It's an amazing performance. The actor connects with the audience, and you feel the emotions of Hamlet. You are going through all these ups and downs with that Hamlet. You are fully involved in that experience. You go home, and the next day you come back to the same theater, the same props, the same room, the same environment, different actor, and it feels kind of flat. What's the difference? The same dialogue, the same lines. The difference that makes the difference is that in the first case scenario, the actor was obviously fully present in his condition as an actor and knew what to say, but he also made a full transition from that platform to the headspace, to the mind and heart of the audience, and delivered to them exactly that which they needed from that position to feel what they felt. The second person simply delivered the lines which he memorized, which kind of fell flat on the table. The difference is significant because the difference lies in the very experience of a person who is listening and observing. So when you consider the world at large and put aside an audience of 500 or 10 people, and imagine yourself talking to one person in front of you, making connection with that individual, make a connection at a level of emotion. Make a level of a connection of understanding, because it's not about you presenting, but it's about you connecting. It's about you developing a relationship during that brief time and space, which is your presentation. Because at the world at large, we are continually presenting. Whether you are negotiating at a gas station for someone to put gas into your tank, or presenting in a room full of students, or perhaps studying for a role in a movie theater. It's all the same, the context is different. But one thing you need to remember, which I always tell people who have this fear of stage fright, there was a time, once upon a time, when all of us, each and every one of us, has been a child. It was the starting line was the same. We all wore a diaper, and we all came to this world with the same expectation. We all came to this world with the same needs, the same desire to feel important, the same desire to express our creative potential, our humanity. So when you look into the eyes of another person or people, look beyond their eyeballs into the eyes of a child that's looking back at you and connect with them at that level, because we all carry that child deep inside and we are all sharing that same fundamental principle from which we came. So connect with people from that platform, because whether you're looking at a 3-year-old or someone who is 60-year-old, deep inside that 60-year-old there lives that 3-year-old that he has once been. Look into those eyes and you will notice that your resistance, your fear factor, anxiety all melt away, because it's just people, isn't it? Well, NLP is an extremely powerful method which you can use to silence the voice of doubt, anxiety, remove the critics, and manage your emotional states, because NLP is really about managing your own state as well as facilitating different states in other people. So with the tools that NLP provides, you can silence the inner critic, find the right state, ground yourself, and also because you become an expert communicator who knows how other people think, you can communicate to people at a deep level of meanings that you have accomplished 2 things. You manage your own state, and you are able to speak directly to that part of another person or people that they need to be spoken to in order to feel inspired.